Alrighty, hello and welcome to another live stream update for the Capo feature film. For those of you just tuning in for the first time, this is, of course, a part of an ongoing series in which we're basically peeling back the layers behind the creation of this feature film titled Capo, for which I'm the writer and director of, and it's giving people an opportunity to get a sense of all the work that's been done up to date, as well as the ongoing process of how we're building this project and getting it off the ground to move it into production. So last stream I was talking about some inspiration, so just changing tack quite a bit and kind of flipping more to the commercial side, which I haven't spoken about for quite a few days now. And I thought one that would be a good one is because it's kind of relevant at the moment with some conversations I've been having recently. And that is some common objections that we've been getting from investors when we have conversations with them about coming on board for the film and how we address them. So it's essentially the same conversation I have in person with someone when we're discussing the project. And so I could actually speak about this for an hour, but I don't want to do that. So I thought I would, pick out probably the most three common ones that we usually come up against when we're speaking with someone. And that's because it's usually, I'm assuming it's probably what's the reason it's so common is because the caliber investor we're speaking to about are thinking about these questions. So the first one is, and I'll just phrase it as if it is a question, is how do you expect to generate returns on investment? So what that really comes down to, and what someone is asking when they do put this question to us, is essentially how do we generate revenue from the film? And there's, in terms of feature films, how that happens and how we're doing it in our case is essentially, it's what we're talking about is the distribution strategy and how we aim to make a return when we do distribute. So the first thing that we're looking to do is to locally, in terms of Australia, have a local distribution deal before we greenlight it, before we start filming anything. That's not only in my mind critical to have that assurance both for us as a team, as a production team, but then also for our investors. So there's that that initial element of security in that, but it's also a requirement for our finance plan. We're aiming to apply for what's called the producer's offset, and in order to do that, we would need to have a theatrical release within Australia anyway. So that's something that's adds that element of security for that. But furthermore, and what's really more exciting, especially the anecdotally, the feedback that we've received of the Capo from both from a story point of view and also visually, is that it has this international appeal, which I had always wanted to. I had that in mind when I was writing the project, so I'm really glad to hear that. But essentially, why that helps us is because we want to sell it into other parts of the world via a sales agent. So they'll be largely responsible for selling it into different markets around the world. And so as a part of that, and we've spoken about this before as far as our marketing strategy, is to put it into international film festivals. So we're taking it to market in those points of the world in order to sell it into different areas of the world. So they're really the main ways that you generate revenue from the investment or from the film. So the next question is, what are the risks involved and how are you mitigating them? So this is something I've touched on a little bit in the past, but really there's two primary risks. And actually, let me take a step back first. Like there's a inherent risk with feature film investment, which I always, to be upfront with people, want to make really clear. And it's less like other asset classes such as property, and more like venture capitalism as far as investing in a startup in that sense. in the sense of there's high risk but very high upside when things do well. So that's from the outset what the risks are. But the two primary risks that are specific to our project is number one, obviously, me being a first time, it being a debut feature film, so being my first feature film. So on paper, that's definitely a huge risk. What we're doing to mitigate that is number one is the people surrounding the project. So the people I've already brought into the project and will continue to bring into the project will be capitalizing on their experience and bringing in their level of expertise in order to make sure that no matter what, the quality of the film is to a standard that I'm happy with and is consistent with what the kind of work we want to be putting out as Australian filmmakers. Furthermore, the experience I have, although not specific to feature films, I've been very fortunate to create short films, which again, these are smaller budgets, these are smaller timelines, but you're still flexing the skill set and flexing that muscle of being a director, and then also as a producer as well. Like especially the last project that I made with my brother Nathan, Dear Andy, that line was very much blurred of director and producer, and both of us were very happy with the result of that film, and the feedback we got was tremendous, and we were very lucky to also pick up some awards from the film festivals that we submitted to. Also, through my commercial work, through Ithaca Media, like the commercial work we do creating advertising films for other companies, gives us a unique, it gives an insight. It's given me that experience of knowing how to work with a budget, but then also knowing how to deliver to the client a product at the end of the day that's going to help them generate revenue. So that's from a director's experience point of view, what I lean on. The other point of view and how we're mitigating a risk is to bring in known talent. So where we have planned for and budgeted for Capo is to have a known actor of international experience. So he's going to be internationally recognized. We haven't confirmed that yet, and we have some names which I'll speak about hopefully in a couple of weeks. And again, the reason we want to do that is to raise the quality of the film, number one, to bring in that talent, but also from a commercial point of view, it draws in a pre-existing audience that recognizes that name, will go to the cinema just to see that actor or actress, and that's why we want to be doing that. And then that kind of ties into the last question or objection, if you want to call it that, and that's what differentiates this opportunity from other investment options that I have. So I was just touching on it before that film as an investment is a very different asset class, and despite it being high risk, high reward, like a high upside should things go well, what if we're just looking at purely from the financial, you're going to miss out a lot. And that's why the investors that we've been speaking with, they're actually coming on board for different reasons. And it reminds me of a conversation I had with someone who he was talking about when he went to a film festival and he was speaking to an investor himself. And he asked the question, what is it that makes you invest in films? And the answer that he gave stuck with this person, and it stuck with me as well. And that's that film changes people's lives, and the ability to be a part of that process and experience is something that investor cherishes. So the return they get is besides the financial point of view, is much more valuable to them. And so we look for people who want to be a part of the project, who want to be part of involving this in their legacy, have the cultural return on a film like this is something that frankly can't be matched to the investment side of things from a financial point of view purely. So just a quick one on that. I'll wrap it up there, but I'll wrap this up in the same way I usually do. If you're watching this for the first time, feel free to follow future lives. We'll be doing this. It will be up again next week. And if you know someone who may be interested in getting involved in this project, feel free to get in touch, or at the very least, recommend that they watch these live videos. But on that note, I will say good night if you're in Perth, and a good day if you're in another part of the world. And thanks for joining in tonight.